Gang, I get a lot of questions about my settings, whether it's graphic settings, audio settings, controller settings, and I make the videos, but everyone keeps asking where are they, so I decided, you know what, for this new season, I've already covered a couple of these, I'm just gonna make one video that covers everything, all of my settings. So if you want to know exactly what I run, you got it in this video. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, you enjoy the content, hit that sub button, press that like button. We are on the road to 5K this year, and we are already crushing it. So thank you all so much for that love and support. Without further ado, gang, let's get right into it. Alright, gangs, on our settings, we're gonna go and start off with controller. So for our controller, I don't really change my button layout at all. I do have tactical set. I know default and tactical, but I feel like 90% of gamers in Call of Duty use tactical. If you do not, it switches your crouch and your melee. So your melee is going to be circle if you're using a PlayStation controller, B if you're on Xbox, and then crouch is going to be right stick in. Stick layout's going to be preset to default. 6.6 sensitivity. ADS multiplier is going to be at default. Ooh. And then show more. Jeez, I don't know why it keeps backing all the way out. We're just going to leave all of the sensitivity multipliers the same as right now. Aimed on sight behavior is hold. Auto attack sprint's going to be on. And then prioritize interact. For sure, it's the same thing as contextual tap. Apply all, you can always cancel the animation. Going over to advanced, target aim assist is going to be on. Aim assist type is default. I switched between this and Black Ops for a little while. I definitely think default's going to be the best you can possibly run at this point. Black Ops was nerfed a while back, so I just stick with default. I don't really argue it. And then aim response curve type is set to dynamic. This is something I do fluctuate actually kind of heavy from dynamic to standard. Depends on how I'm playing. If I feel like my shot's not quite there that day, I'll put it to standard. But for the most part, I'm on dynamic. I'd say 99% of the time. ADS sensitivity transition, I have that on instant. Dead zones 0.03 on left and right stick. Make this as low as you can without getting stick drift. If you do have a lot of stick drift, raise it up. But the goal is to have this as low as you can without any sort of stick drift. And then I have no idea about gyro aiming, so I don't really touch any of that. Movement behaviors, single tap sprint's pretty solid for sure. Auto ground mantle, reverse slide behavior, ledge hang mantle only. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it for all of these. Let's go on to graphics. This is definitely going to vary. I mean, these are the graphic settings I run, and I do record and play off the same PC, so if anybody has to have really good settings, it's got to be me, because I'm telling you, it's very intense to like record, stream, and play all at the same time on the same computer, especially at 1440p. So here are my settings. Through that, I'm just going to kind of go through them. The big thing on this screen, on your like initial display screen on graphics, full screen borderless for sure. A lot of people do exclusive and extended window. I like borderless, man. For quality, it's all custom. You could do a preset, but I don't recommend it because you can get more potential out of your computer by running it yourself. My render quality is obviously 1440p. Fidelity FX CAS is what I run on my upscale. There's all kinds of different ones you can do, like the Intel XS, NVIDIA DSLSS. I just run the Fidelity FX CAS myself. Anti-aliasing, I do the Filmic SMA T2X. This is really like sharpness, so I definitely keep that on T2X. I just kind of like that look it gives. You definitely don't, if you need more performance, you know, you can run SMA T2X, but I like running Filmic. Anti-aliasing quality, I just leave it at normal. There's no need for me to go up to like ultra or anything. Video memory scale, I keep that maxed out. Texture resolution, normal. Oh, excuse me. I'm just gonna kind of keep going through these, gang. I am tired. It's been a long weekend, let me tell you. Shadow map resolution, we're gonna keep that at very low. Screen space shadow is gonna be off. Spot shadow quality is gonna be set to medium. Again, your shadow and lighting, these aren't really gonna be like super intensive, but I usually turn them off because they're not extremely important. Obviously, I have some shadow quality on because shadows can help you. You can tell if someone's behind a peak based on maybe the sunlight's hitting them right. You see their shadow, make sure they're in the room. So I definitely leave a little bit of that quality on, but you don't really need it to be high quality. You just need to be able to see that there is a shadow. Screen space reflections off, stuff like that. This is kind of where you get into like your pretty effect. Motion blur I'm going to keep off, and weapon motion blur I'm going to keep off. There's a myth that said Like in the last game, a lot of people were saying, oh, if you leave weapon motion blur on, you get more FPS in game. It makes your game look smoother because the weapon's blurred and you don't have those like definitive lines of like the edge of your weapon from your sharpness, so you can really see the chop. When you get the blur kind of throws off like the lower FPS. It was definitely cap, so I leave that off for sure. Film grain, I leave it 0. There was another thing with film grain a while back where people were like, oh, you got to do like 0.01. I'm at 0 right now. I have no problems rocking it like that. Game runs fine, so personally that's what I run. We were falling asleep at the wheel, gang. Holy. FOV is going to be 120 affected. I've explained this like 1,000 times. Essentially, with affected FOV, when you aim down sights with your FOV at 120, your crosshair is going to be way out in front of you still. And when you put it on independent, it's going to look like you are back at default FOV. The reason we even run 120 FOV, not only for the view, is the lack of recoil. So you have less visual recoil at 120 FOV, which gives you, I honestly think it just gives me a little more confidence with it, like guns with higher recoil. But I'm so used to it now. Usually a lot of times when you see accusations, people are like, oh, you're cheating, whatever. It's usually the 120 affected FOV and you just have a really good shot. To make that like take it a step further, I put my weapon on wide instead of narrow or default. It makes your weapon visually smaller. So you can see on the left that's narrow, so that's like what your gun's normally gonna look like, and it really does take up like a pretty good amount. And you go over to the right and you got wide, and it makes that weapon look a touch smaller. You can kind of see more on the screen compared to the photo on the left. With that being said, with it being smaller, again, that's less visual recoil. Like, you want to get rid of as much visual recoil as you can. These settings definitely do that. These settings down here, your camera settings, I keep them all to least, like camera movement, stuff like that. You just want them to be least. Third person, I'm not playing that. But first person, bro, first person, I'm gonna leave that at least 50%. Going down to audio, this is another really big one, man. I rock headphones. They added like a whole new thing where I can just click PC now instead of headphones, which preferably, I guess I could. I'm so used to just having the headset settings go for so long that I just use headphones. But I'll toy around with PC through this week. But as of right now, I'm just gonna leave it on headphones. Obviously, you're gonna have your default devices. On here, I do 100% on master volume, music volume 0, 15 dialogue, 100 effects, 30 chat. Going down speaker output, I got on stereo, and then you have Windows default. I'm just hanging out on stereo right now. I hear footsteps loud and clear just fine all the time. Proximity chat I leave on. Let's see, accessibility, subtitles, nothing too crazy here. Juggernaut music, it's on, but my music's turned all the way down, so it doesn't really matter. And that's really it for audio settings. And then for, I believe it's on interface, let's see. There's one huge new setting. Oh, well, minimap. You gotta make sure your minimap is square and that it rotates. Square and rotates. That is a game changer. And then there is a new setting down here, I believe, in advanced. Inverted flash on. So inverted flash is actually super sick. You get hit with a flashbang, instead of your screen going white, it goes black now, and instead of it being super bright, it's super dark. So you go from oversaturated, everything's super bright, and then you can kind of see through it, or you can go from super dark, like you're opening your eyes almost. It is a lifesaver. One, it's going to save your eyes. If you play a lot of games, you get flashed a lot, it's going to save your eyes a little bit more. But two, I definitely think you can see people faster through inverted flash than you can with a normal flash. Super solid setting. You gotta rock that, especially if you're out here playing like a lot of multiplayer, getting ripped, flashbang. You're gonna notice a huge difference with this. Oh, and that actually makes me think. Go back to audio. There's a setting here. It's a tinnitus setting right here. Reduce tinnitus sound. This takes away a lot of the ringing for the concussion effect when you get hit with a flashbang. So look, not only can you nerf how much the flashbangs hit you, but you can nerf the sound so you can still hear what's going on around you, so it's not ringing in your ears so loud. Gang, that's it. Those are my settings. If you're new to the channel, enjoy the content, man, hit that sub button, crush that like button. I'll catch you all tomorrow for another banger. Let's get it, gang.